see the logo in the background. It says Eternal Gardens. Can you tell us a little bit about Eternal Gardens, just for the audience as well?
Eternal Gardens is a Muslim cemetery in Sidcup, and it's virgin land, and there was a woodland, and mashallah, over 4,000 people have been buried there, and we run out of space, and now they opened a new section. So it just goes to show, 4,000 burials in just in that cemetery in less than 10 years, and it's full.
Yes.
So we should all think about.
Are you expanding right now?
We're expanding into a new area, yes. So that will give us another 2,000. But that will be gone in 3 or 4 years. That will be full as well.
Yeah. So Eternal Gardens is a charity, or is it like non?
No, Eternal Garden is not a charity, it's a business, but we are in charge, Asif is in charge of the Muslim section.
Okay.
So yes. So there's other graveyard, but this is unique, it's virgin land, it was a woodland, and it's compliant. They do, also, we have a fatwa from that you're allowed to bury 2 people, because it's not a land. But that fatwa is only for the area that we live in and for that particular graveyard. So it's not doesn't apply to everyone. Everything has individual cases to be looked at individually.
Yeah.
So you can bury up to 2 people. Madam, you don't disturb the first grave. They did 6'6", and then when the second person passes away, they only do 4 foot.
Yeah, I mean, talking about death, no one can change the qadr of Allah. It's predetermined, your time, when you're born and when you're going to die, it's all written. But here, what we're trying to advocate is the importance of health as well. So, although you might live to 60, 70 or 80, the most important thing here is to live a good quality life. That's all the background's fine.
It's really good. Yeah.
Alright, mashallah.
Okay. Bismillah.
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm here with 2 special guests. Of course, my usual, Tamkin,
the old one.
My good brother and friend, Tamkin, and also my friend Asif. Asif is the founder or co-founder of Eternal Gardens, and also Tamkin's involved with Eternal Gardens. So we were just talking about Eternal Gardens. We'll get more details. Can you give us a little history? Maybe tell us about yourself first, and then give us a little bit of history about Eternal Gardens.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah, brother. Thank you for coming. My background has been in management for the last 30 years. I'm still in management. I'm a group relationship manager for Eternal Gardens. 10 years ago, I was freelancing as an interpreter, interpreting for the government in different areas like doctors, prisons and police stations and so forth. I was approached by a company and said, look, could you support us? We're opening a cemetery and we need someone from the Muslim background who can engage with the community to bring people on board. It was a non-Muslim company, but obviously at that time we were in desperate need because of the lack of burial spaces that was around London and South East London. And my local mosque, Croydon Mosque, was also at the time desperate for space and looking for land. So this option came along, and I contacted a few muftis and imams and said, look, what do you think? They said, look, take the opportunity, and it's the next best option for us, but it's the only option because obviously the council are not coming forward with any more land. So I gave up my interpreting role for a while, and the company said that come on board for 6 months and set it all up for us, and then get the team on board, and we can take it from there. It was a great success because we had an open day. We had coaches, people from all over London come and see the park. There was only 1 or 2 burials at the time there in that particular area, and it was a 55-acre site in Bromley in Sidcup, which still exists, and that site is now under expansion on phase 2, where we will have another 15 to 1700 more burial spaces for the Muslims. Now that space, unfortunately or fortunately for some, for the company, during COVID it got full up very quickly. It was sad to see a lot of our brothers and sisters actually caught COVID and didn't return. Um, but obviously we gave them the best service at the time, and if we weren't around in that site at the time, there would have been a desperate need, because there was no other burial spaces in South East London. So that's a little bit of my background on the journey that we've come through, and this year October will be actually 10 years. My 6 months as a secondment to do the project ended up being still there. The company didn't want me to leave; they wanted me to actually further expand and get the awareness out there within the community which we managed. And we buried over 3,000 people, and we've got about 2,500 people who have pre-purchased. We were the only cemetery in London that were offering pre-purchase options to families, individuals and organisations. A lot of organisations did come forward. Tower Hamlets, for example, came forward. We had other small organisations from the mosques, the Nigerian community, the African community, Croydon Mosque actually purchased plots right at the beginning. But the thing is, we've been stressing this from day one. Over the last 10 years, price of land is getting very expensive in London. And the councils are taking more importance on building houses than allocating space for graveyards, which obviously in hand now you need both. Yeah, and we as Muslims and the Jewish community and a few of the Catholics and that they do bury. I know 85% cremate, but there's a very big need and a shortage. So the price has been a real factor, because when we first started, we were offering the pre-purchase plots at £2,000 a plot, and now you're looking at paying above £5,000. And it's something that's, if not planned ahead well in advance, it's for something that's not affordable. So we encourage a lot of people to sort of take out a later life plan. It's not an insurance plan; it's a plan that you save. Yeah, and if you've got the money in advance, you buy the plot now. Yeah. And we've had a great support. It's all been a team effort. It's not all been me. Yeah, Tamkin here, you know him very well. He's been a very good friend of mine, and we worked together. And he supported us right from day one, and he still is supporting us.
Yeah.
We were in this Tooting office, which 5 years ago we opened underneath the Tooting Islamic Centre, and it was a really a signposting community office for anyone who wanted any help or need and pointing in the right direction. We have partnered with people like Islamic Wills, Franny and Taylor, solicitors that are based in London and in Norbury. We partnered with people like Sukoon Mental Health. We are now even partnering ourselves with other organisations that can work alongside us and support communities going forward. But we are desperate in need of land. Land is something that's getting really expensive, and we need to have more land available for our Muslim brothers and sisters in the future.
For the victims in London, and I know as well in Eternal God, apart from my father's buried.
Yes, your father's buried there.
And Allah yarhamu, also all the victims from Grenfell fire as well. I've seen we have a lot of victims, children and some of the victims.
We came forward and with the support of Eden Care, who are a charity based in East London, we didn't hesitate, and my directors from Green Acres came forward and supported the victims, and we buried them in our cemetery. And the other thing in the cemetery is a very simple cemetery, well looked after, maintained. A lot of people visit there thinking it's a park, because the way it's maintained, and it's not your usual council cemetery where you have fair going into a cemetery. And we bury according to the Sunnah of Sharia, and it's facing Qibla. We bury 6'6". We've got a fatwa for geo burials, which is an option that the families can decide. Another family member can be buried on top. It took us 4 years to research and get the fatwa signed off by a very well-renowned scholar, Mufti Amjad from Bradford, and Al Sheikh Haytham and Yunus Dudwallah, and Mufti from Croydon, who finally signed off, and it's available online for anybody who wishes to see that. In London, it's only meant for our cemetery in Bromley, because that's what the fatwa was given for, because the land around London is scarce, and based on that fatwa it was given so that we can take advantage of that double depth burial, where the first deceased is not disturbed, and then we bury the second person on top according to Sunnah and Sharia.
Right. So at the moment, did you find land in London? That's what you're looking for right now, to get new?
Yeah, we have a sister company, CDS, who are working very hard, and they manage and do all the planning for parks and cemeteries. They are looking for land. They are, but again, it's all right getting the land. It's getting the planning permission, which is then the next hurdle that you got to go over, and also making sure that the ground is suitable, because a lot of the ground in London is clay and it's waterlogged. You know, you go 3 or 4 foot down and its water levels are too low, and regulations as well as Islamic regulations. You can't bury people in water. You know, one you will contaminate that water, because that water is then recycled into drinking water from the Thames water experts. You know, and Islamically it's not right either.
Well, on that, I can tell you my version. I didn't know anything about burials, anything about wills, nothing about later life. And then when I teamed up, well, Asif's been my friend for many years, but when I teamed up with him 10 years ago to support, because I was a chair of an organisation, and then I said, no, the organisation is going to help, we're going to help. And I've learned so much in the 10 years about burial, about washing, about the different methods. And then I eventually, not right there and then, but a few years later, I also purchased my spot for myself, my wife, or family, whoever. And also from there, I also thought about my will. So then then I did my will as well. And then I started getting my affairs in order. So alhamdulillah, it was a godsend. These things you do learn, and I think everyone should understand all these concepts, and also about how to wash bodies. What is entailed? What do you do when someone dies? Where do you run to? The mosque. Where do you pick up the green form from?
Right.
Yeah. You learn all these little bits, and then you help and signpost people.
Yeah, we are this year arranging some workshops in mosques where we will be educating our communities into the A to Z of burials, the washing, training, and counselling. There's a big need for that within our communities at the moment, and we are focusing, and our marketing team are helping them behind on that. Not only that, we also work very closely with the communities in that Tamkin mentioned, that soup kitchens and seniors lunches, and because it's not just about death. It's about working within communities. For the last 15 years, me and Tamkin have been running the soup kitchen, which is called the community kitchen now in Croydon, and we started off like half a dozen people that used to come there, and now we serve over 150 people on a Wednesday as well as a Friday. Wednesday we got the Swan organisation, a team of ladies that help us and support us as well on Friday as well. So it's community work. I mean, I'm working just down the road from here in Mushkil Hassan and trying to negotiate how we can bring the seniors lunches back, where seniors can come out of their houses and come and engage, with others and have a lunch, chit chat, And I know a lot of organisers have started doing that now. One organisation I'm into, Wellington, which have carrom ball, and they sit there and playing carrom ball and having lunch, and the ladies as well as men. It's not just for men. But I think more so we need to bring the men out, because obviously at that age they come less frequently to the mosque. So if we can get them out for once a week at least, in an environment where they can sit down and have a chat
Right.
It will do them good than sitting home. Because women, they tend to sort of engage on the phone and have somebody coming round, or friends. They're more friendships,
Yeah.
than what men do. And I think that's so important that we focus on things like that. So social responsibility is a very important thing for Green Acres as well as Town Gardens in Guildford.
And at Eternal Gardens, I actually did some courses as well, on bereavement as well. Also, recently, I've done first aid for mental health. I've done a course on anxiety. Yeah? So all these things have helped me to grow and expand, and then from there, I'm able to then signpost, not give advice, specific advice, but signpost and know what to look out for, and to help people. So there's more than meets the eye. Like Asif said, we're doing the soup kitchen, we're doing lunches, we're going out on the community. Asif and I think I've been with Asif. I think I've been at least 200 mosques. Like Asif, I don't know how many mosques you.
Yeah, I mean initially when I first started to get the awareness out there, there is over 300 mosques in London alone. And we must have visited over 150 mosques. Even more now. That was at that time because
and outside London as well, of course. We've visited lots of mosques.
I think the programs we held initially in the mosque was the awareness programs for people to travel. They have to travel a little bit out. They can't expect a cemetery on the doorstep. That's not there anymore. All you're going to get is reclaimed graves. Which is a big no-no. Unless it's the last resort, otherwise you've got to travel out to bury your loved one, to see and give them the best for the akhirah.
And people think that once they've buried someone, they're going to visit them every week, every month, whatever. And we have seen it time and time again. You're lucky if someone visits once a year after the initial few weeks.
That's what my experience has been over the last 10 years, is that with the right intentions, people's intentions, that they grieve, they're not thinking straight, they make, I wouldn't say wrong decisions, they would have preferred to make a different decision if they had a little bit more time. But unfortunately, because we want to bury as soon as possible, sometimes their preferred decision, they regret afterwards, that I shouldn't have buried mum or dad at reclaimed grave. I wish I'd brought them here, no one told me, and it's this. That's why we encourage this later life planning, is get the akhirah, the most important thing in Islam, to have it in order. And there is a hadith that says that the best of man is about plans ahead.
Yeah.
And visits the grave more often to remember death.
Yeah.
So we should respect that and understand that sunnah. That's how important it is for us to have our affairs in order. From Islamic rules to benefit.
So as soon as you bury someone, is that forever? They'll be in that land, or do you have to reclaim the grave after 20 years or something like that?
Back home and here, the different laws. The law here specifically states that there's the ICC regulation which regulates all cemeteries, that you're not allowed to touch a grave for 75 years.
Okay.
If somebody's still visiting that, you're not allowed to touch it. After that, if there's no one coming back and forth to that grave, there's no family member attached to that grave, then you can reclaim it. The freeholders of that grave.
Okay.
Even the cemetery that we're in, we issue a 50-year lease, which is the 50-year lease can be expanded up to 100 years. But it can be expanded now. You can buy a 100-year lease, we can buy a 50-year lease, or 75 years. But obviously, you pay more money.
Okay.
Nearer the time, if there's families still around, they will be asked, do you wish to increase your lease? So we don't reclaim. But the law is at the moment going through a big change, because the old laws of burials has been the same for all these years. So there's a consultation going on at the moment with everyone in this field, and the governments are looking at it, how they're going to be setting that up. Maybe we can decrease that to 50 years so you can reclaim it, because they say, depending on the soil, 30 years is about right, where the body is mostly decomposed. You can then reclaim that. and Islamically you can as well, because if you in Makkah Medina, when they do the burials there, they do the burials on top, move the bones to one side, and bury on top.
Every 30 years.
Yeah. I don't know how frequently it's done, but
Yeah.
what I've heard, that is the process still in the mirrors, because again, the space not available in Jungle Bucky, especially how big that is, we've all seen. So there's still a lot of work to do. I think there's a lot of awareness to be to get out there. This is our first 10 years of actually educating the community to where we are now, and now we need to further educate to where we want to be. You know, and we're far gone, and we don't want to be in a position where our generation haven't got anywhere to bury, and they've been pushed by government to cremate. You know, that's a big no-no.
We don't want that,
especially for the Jewish community and us. You know, and we need to carry on lobbying that. We do need that, and our community's got to understand that we need to maybe move a bit further. You know, travel a bit more. Yeah, and I mean, from Croydon to Bromley, where we are, we're 45 minutes from here. And you will expect that now, anywhere we go up and down the country, and that's why we're nationally looking for more space to help others and continue the same model of Eternal Gardens burials up and down the country.
So on that, my message is to everyone: think ahead, plan. I had a message this morning from a friend saying someone I knew has died. I don't know if you know Gautam Rupani. So a friend of mine, he's about my age, and I've known him for many years. We've done events, and a few weeks ago, someone else I know died. So death is all around us, but we don't plan, and that's why people make the wrong decisions. If they plan ahead a little bit, they were like, okay, we want to do this graveyard if possible. We want to make sure that the affairs are in order, the will is in order. Make peace with everyone, even prepaid for their burials up to a point. So we should all do this sort of thing.
And what else Green Acres has done is they've got a trust. Where they put money aside from the burial price, which later on, as the park will still need to be maintained. We still need a plan. Once it's full, it's full. The next 1,400 plots we've got left, which will probably give us about 3 years worth of space. And when it's full, it's still going to be maintained. It's not going to bring any revenue in. So
once it's full,
the Green Acres are really thought ahead, and the management team have put a trust to one side, where that will then continue to maintain the park. And the park is beautiful. It's a virgin land, 55 acres of woodlands within that, and they've carefully taken the trees that we're allowed to take, and this other tree which is 300 or 400 years old, ancient tree which is still left there.
And on that, I think Kemra was one of the first parks that buried under 18s for free.
Yes.
And then that became, and all the other cemeteries became law then. So that was very good. Also, you have a Lowalis area as well for those really destitute people that the council would have cremated, or are very poor people who can't afford. Alhamdulillah, you do a Lowalis fund and you bury for free.
That's a very early initiative that Green Acres took to actually build that within our organisation, that any child under 18, there wasn't a burden of finding the cost to bury. And I think that later on the government realised that's become law now, for all cemeteries to provide that. But again, for people who can't afford it, it's still a big issue at the moment. And a lot of mosques raise the funds to bury these individuals. We subsidise a lot with our charities that we work with in helping them, which they raise their monies in areas. But we do have an area called the Lowalis area, and we encourage people to visit that because they didn't have no one while they were here in this world, and to make dua for them when they come and visit the park. So you don't have to have a loved one buried in Kemla Park, Eternal Gardens. Anyone can visit that at any time and come and make a surah Fatiha for that individual.
So what would you do if you run out of land and there's no plots available and you can't double bury and all that stuff, what would happen? You would just
Well, I think then alternative
have to go to
places have to be
council.
found. Yeah, as I said, we have to
It's
travel
the onus
further,
on the councils.
further, and that's why we as communities have to lobby our councillors and our MPs and make them aware how desperate we are. 10 years ago, they knew the problem we were going to have, but they still haven't done nothing. So my job at the moment, I'm working closely with Brother Mahmoud Omar, who's sort of climate peace. They set up that a similar model to ours, 10 years ahead of us. And he's very well, he's got his MBE, he's got a well recognised for what the work he's done.
I think they've got 3 graveyards. They're looking for a 4th one.
They are,
Yes.
they are, they've done so well. It's called Gardens of Peace. But again, when issues like lobbying and so forth, we do come together. We don't see ourselves as competitors.
No.
We want to work together in making sure that what the community deserves gets. And it's hard work. It's not easy. Yeah, and we just got to persevere with it, and we've got to get people back in and petitioners behind it to make government aware. If they want our votes, if they we want the right party to deliver what we need.
They have to make provisions for us.
I think you gave everyone the best advice to book now. You know, while there's some
Think
space,
and book now.
so you can very quickly. Otherwise, there'll be like some sort of delay.
Yes.
You have to wait until the council finds you a suitable
It's
spot.
it's a shame we haven't got what some of the Turkish communities have done. Is like everybody, families, contribute something into a pot. No one gets anything from it until time of death. But they have to carry and put it in there until time of death. Whether it's £10 or it's £20. And if we can come up with an initiative where we can bring something like that up and maybe link it to a charity, you know, something that, again, something I'm looking into that could work.
Okay.
So watch this space.
Inshallah.
Come back and find out.
Yeah. And we're talking about death, but I have to remind you that, and remind everyone, and remind myself as well, the important thing is to live a good quality of life. Why is life? Of course, your time of death is written, it's predetermined by Allah already, but we do our best to live the best version of ourselves.
And quality of life.
Yes, and you guys are gym buddies.
We are gym buddies.
Gym buddies.
Yeah.
And how's your...
In my youth, I used to be a powerlifter.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, but obviously now the knees have given up.
Yeah.
I do swimming, and I find that very. Actually, I started about 3 years ago because on the doctor's orders to do something because my weight was around 140 kg, and it was a struggle. And I noticed that when I took up exercise and obviously ate the right things, my weight got. As soon as you start losing the weight, you feel a lot more energy, a lot more active.
Correct.
So yeah, we've been going to the gym, but more swimming.
Well, I
steam,
do.
he comes just for the steam room.
I do a little bit of jacuzzi, steam, sauna, dip my toe in the water, you know, do a little bit of light walking or swimming. No exercise as in weightlifting or rowing or running. Just it's more a spa for me.
Yes.
2 or 3 times a week, spa treatment.
Lifestyle for you.
Lifestyle spa.
And I think at this stage, I think you're the expert.
Yes,
so I think it's probably important for us to get our heart rate up when we're doing an activity. Even when you're swimming, it's okay, leisurely swim, but you're not really pushing yourself in getting out of breath for things.
Yeah.
So I tend to do the above strokes rather than the doggy paddle, we call it. Yeah. And I think that's important. And I bought an exercise bike for home, and I've started on that for 10 minutes a day as well. And you can tell the difference, how quickly you can get out of breath and how important it is.
Do you walk frequently? I mean, you do 10,000 steps.
Roughly 10,000.
Yeah.
I think Tamkin does a lot more than I do. Unfortunately, I drive a lot and I'm an office man, so that's always been my case. Whereas so that's why I pull myself away from things like this and go to the swimming and probably the next best thing at my age, I think.
Well, you're still a young man, Asif.
Well, I was
I'm going to call you Tamkin.
I look older than Tamkin, but he's older than me. I'll be 57 this year.
Inshallah. You're still young.
No,
You're still in your 50s. It's
Yeah,
still
but-
good.
You don't feel like that. I think
Yeah.
honestly, we need your support.
You
need your support to help us lose this weight.
we need to all pull each other towards,
Yes.
Motivate each other. That's why we're gym buddies. That we.
That's good. And that's why I joined you in the gym the other day.
Oh, yes,
as
you
well,
did
just to
come
make
to-
sure that you guys are working out.
That's right. Yeah. You joined us for an hour. Yes.
No, you do some great work here, brother.
Alhamdulillah.
I think it's important for Muslims to understand how important our bodies are and how we should be looking
Yeah.
after them. It's an amana.
Exactly. It's a trust from Allah.
Yes.
Correct.
And I think if we
Yes.
continuously remind me more than anybody else, if you
Yes.
continue reminding yourself, look, eating unhealthy is
Yeah.
not the way forward.
Well, Asif, I wasn't 140, so I can't say I was exactly the same weight, but I was about 130, 133 kilos at one time, and I struggled. I found even praying difficult. I was struggling. It's like you want to enjoy when you pray. You want to be able to do the movements and enjoy it. But when you're difficult, and you've got aches and pain, and breathing problems, that sort of stuff. It doesn't make it enjoyable. It's kind of becomes more of a something that you have to do. It's an obligation that you must pray, but also it's quite laborious. It's quite labor intensive. It's not an enjoyable feeling. So it's important that for Muslims to be healthy, so they can serve Allah and serve others, fulfill their obligations in life. Because our purpose is to serve Allah by serving the community, by taking care of the environment, by doing what you guys are doing. Thinking about what's lacking in the community right now. How can we serve the community and mankind in general, animals, the environment, everything around us? Because we're representatives on earth. That's what Allah tells us in the Quran. He brought us on this planet for this purpose.
See, even the mosque, they weren't built for just to come and pray and go. It was to see as communities helping one another.
Yeah.
And we've lost that way now. We need to bring that back because when you don't see an individual at the mosque for 1 or 2 days, you're supposed to find out what's the matter with him. Is he alright? Does he need help? Is he ill? And these are the attachments that we should have, and I think that's got to come from when you're young. We haven't built that love for the mosque, and love for that community, and doing things apart from just praying. As a child, you go there and the imam's there, and the whole room is full of kids, and everyone's just praying, and then they're going home. And they don't really want to come back because it's not exciting enough.
What about the mosque we went to? They were playing football inside the mosque.
No, that's what
the kids were playing football, running around, and no one minded.
They realise that now, that to bring the youth back into the mosque, we've got to have some sort of activity. Islamic based,
And the supervision of
and I think a lot of mosques are starting to do that. Even for the mosque, on a Sunday, they've got activities for all the teenage and youngsters. It gets them off the streets for others to then take advantage of them. And there's so much still to do. I mean, we are members of the Face Together in Croydon, in the communities. I've been on the Children's Safeguarding Board for Croydon for 8-9 years. I was on there advising them and giving them direction on how we should be doing certain things. I'm an independent visitor, which a volunteer role, looked after children. There was over 600 Muslim children being looked after non-Muslims in Croydon, and they couldn't get Muslim foster parents. And these children were then being fed haram, not being taken to mosque. So my role was I was linked to a few individuals, about 4 lads. I'm still seeing one to this day. He's just turned 18, from the age of 7 to 18, and saw him grow up. And my role was that, whatever reason he was taken away from his parents, he was still a Muslim, still guide him to take him to the mosque, have a chat with him, was everything okay at home? It was any issue, then report back. These are little things that we can make a big difference in people's lives. And now the other 3 children, there was the Afghan, there was a few others, whenever they see me on the street or they're now growing up and working, they come and hug me and say, "You remember me, Uncle? You helped me. You helped me when I came to this country, and you were my independent visitor." It's so nice to see that. And it's an opportunity which Allah gives, and you've got to grasp it. And these are the things that are sadaqah jariyah that's going to benefit you
Exactly.
later on, and inshallah, I'll call it air miles. You get a card where you build your air miles and you get a free trip.
Yes.
Yeah, these good deeds, you're building your air miles.
For the akhirah.
Inshallah, when you're in the grave, that's when you benefit.
That's
Your after miles.
Yes, akhirah
That's
miles.
when we cash them in.
Yes, that's
So inshallah, may Allah help us all.
it's an obligation in life, to do that, and we need more Muslims to think that way.
Yes.
How can I serve others rather than saying, okay,
Selfishness.
that's it. So my goal in life is to have X amount of money, buy this car, buy this house. I should be thinking, how could I help the next
Yes.
Muslim, my brother on the right and my brother on the left? How can I serve him?
One teacher once said to us is that don't run after your rizq. Rizq is written.
Exactly.
You want to get that
Yeah.
He told this issue with a lot of the taxi drivers out there.
Yeah.
A lot of our brothers are taxi drivers. There's nothing wrong in being a taxi driver.
Yeah.
It's a halal income. But what he said was, and it stuck to me to this day, is that get up, do your namaz. You're the boss. You stop at the mosque when it's time for prayer. Yeah. Don't do 12-hour shift. Just do your normal 8-hour shift that everybody else does. Go home to your family. Yeah. Because you're going to get the same amount.
Exactly.
You can get one person who books your cab,
Yeah.
who pays you for that whole day that you would have earned the whole day.
Yeah.
Because that's from rizq from Allah.
Yeah.
It's everybody. It's me. I can say it, but to act it is hard.
I'm gonna tell you a story, Asif. I don't usually share this. This is something that is personal. Only my family know about this story.
And now the wider family,
Yeah, I think that the audience would benefit from this. And this is not about me being anything special, but I will tell you about my experience that I had. I was at one point in my life, I was struggling financially, and I got a job, okay, a really good job, a high salary with a bank. And then a few months later, one of the managers, actually senior managers, non-Muslim, Indian, and he basically said, okay, we've got this meeting, we all decided we're going to meet at this time on Friday at 1 p.m. And I said to him, listen, 1 p.m. It's a no for me. It's my lunch hour because obviously I'm going for Jummah. And he said, no, we've all decided. I said, look, I'm prepared to work extra hours. I'm prepared to start early. I'm free. I'm prepared to do extra days. Free Monday, just for that Jummah. For that 1 hour, I'll do 2 hours extra, whatever. And he said to me, no, it can't be done. So I sat there and I started calling my friends, family, and asking them, listen, I'm in this situation. I'm going to miss one Jummah. And I was panicking. And this verse kept coming in my mind. When the call of prayer comes, when Jummah is called, the call of prayer comes, abandon yourself, abandon your business, and go to pray. And I asked everyone, I said, work is worship and all that stuff. And I was saying, everyone's telling me not to go to Jummah and not to lose my job. But my heart is telling me that, risk is from Allah. It doesn't feel right. And I was hesitating. And I said, Allah, help me get out of this situation. Because my leg is like, I want to leave. I was kind of like,
it's a good job, yeah.
And I was like that. And
That's
I said,
a test.
that was the test. And then I went and did wudu at work. And then I came back and I was still hesitating. I said, Allah, help me, get me out of this situation. And suddenly, as I was looking at the computer, I seen the calendar time, that the meeting changed. And I thought, oh, subhanAllah, maybe the manager, took my thing into consideration, discussed it with others, and he changed the time from 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. I said, oh, I've got enough time now. I can now go and go Jummah. So I quickly ran out. I didn't go to the manager. I didn't speak to anyone. I just ran out straight away. People were wondering, what's this guy? What's wrong with this guy? What's he running for? Because I didn't want to miss the prayer. I was worried because the Jummah starts about 1:20 or something. They were doing the khutbah and stuff. The khutbah, I arrived a little bit late, but the khutbah hadn't already started. They already changed the hour. So the Jummah time on that particular Friday had been delayed. So now suddenly I'm there. As soon as the khutbah, they're doing azan, and I caught it from the very beginning. And the first thing that the Imam said, whoever is God conscious, Allah will create a way for him, and He will provide sustenance for him from places where he least expected. And I said, and I was so embarrassed for myself. I said, why did I even hesitate? And I was kind of like rebuking myself. I was saying, beating myself. I shouldn't have hesitated. That's wrong. Allah, forgive me for hesitating not to go to Jummah. That's that hesitation. And I went back and I said, Allah, I give you a promise. Wallahi, if this happens again, I would just answer, no, I'm leaving. Means even if they sack me, I don't care. You are the provider. And I returned back to work. The manager was furious. He was very angry, and he said to me, "Why didn't you attend the meeting? I told you. I reminded you at 1 o'clock." I said, "I'm confused because my calendar says 3 p.m." And he said to me, I never changed the time." And I showed him, and he's seen that my actual time had changed. I said, "It definitely couldn't have been me that changed the meeting. I didn't even touch it. It was him." And he said, "Oh, something's wrong with the computer. The times." So I said, "Actually, I'm early because I arrived before 3 p.m. So I'm still on time."
Yeah.
So he said, "I'll just make sure next week to attend the meeting." I said, "Listen, I told you. Now you've got a week in advance notice. I'm definitely not going to come. I've got to go pray." And he said, "No, what you have to attend the meeting." I said, "Look, I'm not. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not. So you change the time, otherwise I'm not going to be there." And I left it at that. The following week, I still went out, and he seen me, he was looking at me, and I walked out of the office, and I came back. At the end of the month, they basically had a nice meeting with me and said to me, "I think we just call it a day," in a nice way,
Yeah.
Let's just, you go your way, we go our way, and that was it.
Mashallah. And you got another job.
Now there's the thing, right? No, what happened? It was approaching Ramadan, and during Ramadan I've now had a little bit of saving, and this was supposed to just keep me going, to see me through until I get something else. And subhanAllah, during Ramadan, the adverts and all the commercials about charities and donations. And every time I see a cause, I say, I need to do something, I need to contribute something. So I ended up just giving. And by the end of the month, I almost pretty much spent most of my money, on charities. But my phone wouldn't stop ringing. I was getting offers left, right, and centre, all remote work.
Wow.
Where now I've got more flexibility, so now suddenly I can work from home. We've got this project. Can you do this project? And that's how I got involved in consultancy work, contracting work, but remotely. So I ended up working remotely. I can now go Jummah anytime I want. I can, as long as I do the work, as long as I deliver the service to the customer, I still get paid. I don't have to work from 9 to 5 or 8 to whatever. I'm not set. So Allah gave me that flexibility. And He said, "Listen, I'm going to give you a risk, but I'm going to make your life easy."